Hi everybody, this is Mike White with Jadengo Web Solutions, formerly Xcart Guru, formerly Baby Monkey Studios. And it's been maybe almost a year since I've done a tutorial. It feels like forever. It feels like it's been 2 years. It feels like I've never done it before, so you're going to have to bear with me. But today I've got a tutorial and we're going to be doing vectorization, hand tracing with Inkscape. So, whether you're working on the web or you're working with any kind of files that need to be vector, no matter what you're doing, you're going to run into raster images that are not vector that need to be, vectorized. Vectorization is the process, where you actually trace it out using shapes and using points and curves rather than pixels. So we're going to be doing that today. So I'm starting here with a blank new Inkscape document. And we're just going to start, we're going to find an image that we want to, trace the design of. And in this case, I'm doing it for a friend in a Facebook group. And we have a very small image from the web that is just terrible for vectorization. So programs like Inkscape can automatically trace things, and you can just bring the object in and trace it into an SVG file, into a vector file. But when you have really small web pictures that are low on detail, and you're just looking at something, you just have something for a reference point, you don't have the computer's not able to pull the detail that you want out of a small photo like this. So I'm going to be showing you how to just use it as a reference and basically draw it for yourself. Okay, so I have my folder here, and I'm just going to click and drag the image and drop it on the Inkscape stage. I'm probably going to choose just to link the file. I don't really need to embed it in this SVG. That means it'll keep the copy where it is on my computer and just reference it in here. Not good if you need to send the image along, but perfect if you're just using it for this reason. And I've chosen to optimize quality because I know I have a pretty poor quality image to begin with. All right, so here we go. And I could show you what it would, how it would work if we actually just tried to trace this. I'm going to skip that step. I think everybody that's ever tried to trace anything in Inkscape knows that sometimes it doesn't get all the detail you want, or sometimes it ignores parts that you did want it to get. And that's what this technique is all about, is having complete control over what you get. So this is an image of somebody's bedroom. So somebody just likes this. And what we want to capture is this mermaid up here. So right now we just have one layer in this document, and I like to stay pretty organized. I'm going to rename this layer and call it background. Okay. And then I'm going to lock it, and actually I can turn it on and off. That's the background layer that we're working with. And hit plus and add a layer, and I'm going to call it drawing. And we'll add that. And it's unlocked, but background is locked. So now I can't put anything on the background layer accidentally. I'm just going to be putting things on this front layer. And I'm going to choose this, I'd call it the pen tool. I mean, I come from Adobe, and that's a common name over there, but it's the curve tool. Draw Bezier curves and straight lines. So we click on that. And I'm going to zoom in, pretty tight, and just start with the head of the model, I think. So I'm hitting plus key on my keyboard next to the numpad just to zoom in. And I'm just going to start drawing. And really, I'm going to have to make some adjustments. It's been a long time since I've done this. But it's a great, very relaxing process. And the thing to do is to always think about not just the point that you're placing, but the points that you're going to place. So, you don't look at points, especially on an organic object like this, and consider them corners. There's hardly any corners. This object is completely made up of curves. So, I'm going to click in the middle of a fairly straight section here, or I could choose to click, in the middle of a curve. Those are the two options that I really have. I think I'm going to like this one better, so I'm going to click right here and just draw out one side of this Bezier curve. And I'm going to place this handle. I clicked and I held. That's important. And then I'm going to place the handle out like this, just to get an approximation of what I'm guessing is going to work well. Oh, and it worked exactly the opposite of the way that I thought it was. So that's funny. The curve's running the wrong way already. So we'll fix that. So I'm just going to place another point up here arbitrarily where I want it to be. All right. And then I'm going to hit enter to confirm. And I've got the start of my line. Okay. So now we have an object. Let me pull open that. Okay, right over here. It's been a while since I've worked with this Inkscape. Here's the fill and stroke. Fill, stroke paint, stroke style. I really don't want any fill. I just want stroke for now because I'm tracing something. The style, I probably don't need something that big. So I'm going to put it to 0.5 for a thinner, smoother line. Color. I mean, here I'm working against a black and white image. So I think that just going with a strong red color is going to help me see my line the best. I can also fade out the opacity of this image so this wasn't so strong black and white, but for now I'm just going to do that. All right. Okay, so here's the node that I placed, the first node that I placed. Okay, and this doesn't take this long. When you know what you're doing, after you get back into it at least, you should be able to smooth through this stuff. But I'm explaining everything. Grab this handle and see how I'm turning around the way it goes. Which direction it goes. This time it was pointed the wrong way. I should have gone in the direction that I'm supposed to follow the curve. And I think that's one of my rules for myself is always to pull in the direction that you want to go. And I kind of reverse direction on myself here. So this next node that I placed does not have a handle yet because it's not smooth. So if I were to tell it to make it smooth, it still wouldn't get a handle because it doesn't have anything to smooth with. Okay, so I'm going to switch back to my drawing tool and click here to indicate I want to pick up there. And then just come on the other side of this curve here and pull in the direction I want to go. And then I'm going to come up here and pull in the direction that I want to go. And then I'm going to come down here and pull again. Okay. So you can be as picky as you want with your curves. You can just decide what you're going to accept, essentially. Let's make this smooth. There we go. And decide what level of detail you want to go to follow the object. I mean, this is where the artistry kind of comes in. I mean, if you can call it that. I think there is an artistry to tracing because you can decide, which side of the line you're going to go on. I kind of think of myself as a fill-in when I'm doing this, like I'm filling in the comic book cells or inking over someone else's, pencil work. So, you can tweak these things endlessly. I'm just going to place them, get something that works real quick, and move on. All right, so there we go. That's going to be good enough for us for right now for this tutorial because it's boring to watch. So again, I'm just going to grab my tool here, curve tool, click here to link up with what's there. And you might not be able to see it, but I've got this little red line that's following me around. And, this stuff is kind of tough leading into a corner like this with such a straight shot. So I'm going to make it a little curved because you always want everything to be curved. And maybe just place one right here to kind of follow this little detail. Got some hair up here. Maybe come down to accentuate this little flip of the hair. And then out. And might be missing the spirit of this up here. I might need to rework this. Here I kind of have a, I'm just continuing to pull out and make decisions. Here I kind of have a hard corner, so I'm going to leave a point. And I didn't pull on that one. There's some subtle detail in here that I'm worried people are going to be concentrated on because it might be an eye area. So I'm just like placing points. And I'm going to go out and have a little point pixie of a nose here, and then come back in. And you see how this goes. I just kind of, decide what if I'm seeing detail there that I need to put some. Maybe these are her lips. We're really zoomed in, so this kind of detail is not going to be seen anywhere. Uh, you know, After I get through this little hard part, I'm going to stop and talk about not letting your nodes overlap. All right, so let's just end that. Not certain I like that little bump on the lip. It just looks a little extreme there for me. Might be just fine when we're zoomed out, but anyway, fix that up. Might have given her a little too manly of a chin. Poor girl. Okay, so now this is the concept of not letting your nodes overlap. So, I mean, some of this is acceptable. It's not like you have to freak out about this. But I'm going to click there. Let's see. Let's click and connect with that node. And then let's just put a node here. And then I'm going to put another node here and overlap it. And that's what I mean by overlap. See how these enter to confirm. Okay, that's what I've been doing there. Oops. So this node, you see how its handle is like kind of within the space of this other one. And you just start getting these you can get these really nasty sharp things. And that's easy to do when you're working down at this detail level, like of these small little nodes. So I guess I'm just telling you in general, you don't want a document that's got, see how that's, it can seem like it's okay, but there's like a little wrinkle in it down there. Yeah, that's gross. We don't want that. So I'll just fix that up. Okay, so let's zoom out here and look at what we've done. Probably placed too many notes. Probably went a little bit overboard here, and might not like that. Might want to get rid of that. But and you can do that. You can go back and remove nodes. And usually it's a good idea to give the advice to not use very many if you can avoid it. So there's no need to place unnecessary ones. You can decide the level of detail you need to go to. And I think that also depends on how big this design's going to be when it's actually produced or seen, on the web or anywhere. All right. So, moving along, and like I said, this process can be very therapeutic. It can be very fun. You just continue along the outer rim of the object. Okay, so what happens if I just click here and drag and it's not connected? It's like, oh, what's happened? So I'm going to hit escape, to not confirm that. And what I need to do is go back and select the object again, put it in edit mode, then click on my tool, then I can connect again. So that's something that I used to run into a lot. And so even though this is a straight section, I'm putting a little curve in it. It's always a good idea to put curves. Things are rarely straight in nature. And what we're going to do is just continue. Now you can see I can adjust my view and keep zoomed in while staying connected there. And I'm just kind of going around to where I see the curve starts to drop off and not take the shape that I want. And then I pull my curve back into the shape that I want. So here we go. Almost started to get a little overlap there. Had to stop myself. This one can be pulled pretty extremely. You sort of have to look ahead too and see where the next curve is going to be. And I'm just following this design precisely. That is definitely not something that you have to do. I mean, you can you can start out with the trace of an object and then you can flourish it. Design it any way you like, and that's sort of the beauty of this method. Is you can make anything you want, while pulling off of something that's already quite nice. Okay, here I'm approaching a corner. So I'm just going to hit a single. You don't have to make a curve. I make a hard transition just right here in the middle of these two, and then come back. I remember corners being tricky when I was new to this technique, and you just when you get to a point, you just make a hard turn. And you can do that at any point. I mean, you can decide to like give a little jig and jag here and take some liberties with these shapes, and it'll be just fine. So if you place a point you don't like and it's just way off base, you really need to hesitate before you Control Z. Hitting Control Z can undo everything that you just did. So you want to. The point is that you want to go ahead and hit Enter, confirm your line, and then edit the thing that you just made wrong. So by the same token, when you've traced around a significant portion of the object, just go ahead and hit Enter and make that hard. It's also important to just go around the outside of the object. So I'm not, necessarily doing, I'm not doing any, not necessarily, I'm not doing any of the interior portions. You see me just ignoring those black shapes inside. So we're just going to continue to go around the outside. I'm taking less care down here because it's a low detail area. I think it's supposed to be water at this point. I need to zoom out and find that out. But it's not something that needs a particular shape, so I can just roll along and make some bubbly little curves here, Bob Ross style. But see, I'm not going to worry about this big black thing in the middle here right now. I'm just doing the outside, so we'll just let that be. I've gone all the way around this corner and continued with this object. I can always slice things apart later. The vector process is really forgiving to edits, and that's why we love it so much. The thing about it is I would like this to just all be one object. It's a silhouette, which is already perfect for this. So I'd just rather continue one line if I can, and I'm going to do that as much as possible. So I guess the other thing that I wanted to mention is that I'm moving from black to I'm tracing over this white and black area, or close to white and black, and to get the outline. So I can think of things as either inverted. I mean, I could either consider that I'm tracing out the white, or that I'm tracing out the black. It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, if you're chopping off someone's jeans, chopping out a pair of blue jeans off of an image that I needed to do the other day to change out the color, to be able to tweak the color of the blue on the jeans, then the deal is you can choose to either trace the jeans or trace the rest of the environment around the jeans. And really, when you think about it, that's what you're doing. Is you're just isolating. That's the concept. You're just isolating the curves that control this one object. And since in this thing's case it's black and white, I've just continued on around, and I'm making this whole section a layer. And you need to think in layers. Layers are what we're working with, and that's what we're building on. Okay, I want to talk about the concept of a pretty curve. So, I guess this might just be me, but these curves that I've made down here, like this one around here, I hope you can see my mouse, and this one around this jut, they just don't look pretty. So, I'm just going to move them a little bit until they look a little prettier. I need to zoom in, it looks like. So just a little bit of adjustment there, and the curve is back to pretty. It's maybe it's an organic, just more organic shape um, that I like better. This one looks like it could use some tweaking, and it's just a little more smooth and flowing um, than it was before. So I'm getting on around to where I'm about to hit the big circle, and I'm just going to transition into it and put a point right there where the circle is going to start. Um, go ahead and confirm that. Um, oh, apparently I started a new object there. Let me fix that. Okay, there we go. So let's zoom out and let's take a look at what we have so far. Maybe halfway done, getting there. Um, let's look at all the points here. It's amazing how many you'll do. Get carried away with it. I mean, I've probably been doing this for about 30 minutes. Maybe it's going to take an hour to finish, but that's with all the explaining and everything. So since I'm about to do these points around the circle, circles are kind of the hardest thing that you ever have to do. Um, so I'm going to, want to be real generic, real, like just 3 points is what I'm envisioning to make this whole thing. And if I needed to, I could even bring in a circle and drop it. So if I get too frustrated, I'm going to bring a circle in and try to incorporate it. So I'm also going to try to do this at this level um, of zoom. So just going to pick a point here and give it that. Pick a point in the center, or roughly the center. Bring it out there, and then pick a point here. And finishing the other side where it's symmetrical is always really tough for me. But let's just bring that on around there. It's not perfect. It's probably going to be good enough for this tutorial. I would go in here and tweak this. Just change. I wouldn't drag the handles at all if I could avoid it. Looks like I have to here. You have to look at both sides. It's going to be hard to see from your, zoomed out. We're looking at a little video here, but I've got a nice big monitor, thankfully. That helps with all this stuff. Yeah, and this is one of those things you could do endlessly. So you just kind of have to decide what's good enough and go with it. And we'll see when I actually black this in. When we look at the fill, I guess we could do that real quick here. Let's just switch over to fill and give it a black. We'll scroll up here and turn off our background. Yeah, I mean that's a decent circle there. Oh, I'm clicking over there. Looks good. All right. You'll see that I started on the hardest part. I mean, that way it just becomes a little bit, I've already done, if there's a stressful part of this, I've already done it, and I don't have to worry. I mean, here, all I can do is mess up what's already started and is good. So I'm just playing around and relaxing with the easy parts. I won't lie to you, it does start getting tedious at like the 50 to 75% point. And you have to start just thinking about how great it's going to be when you're done. And how proud of it you're going to be. So just keep working away on around. I was going to take a second and mention the little decisions that you make along the way. Like, here in the drawing, you can definitely see where it, there's a break. And, I'm probably just going to follow this a little bit and then come around like this. And actually, I just made the decision, okay, that's going to be a separate object down there. That's going to be a separate trace. And now I can go around the interior of this, and I'll just separate that there. I know this is common sense, but I also want to mention that, it really depends on how big you're making this. I mean, I'm kind of tracing this with the concept that somebody's going to do something of the scale that I see in this picture. And if that's not the case, then we want to do something a lot less detailed. And I decided to leave that out. I mean, I can come back and put that little object in later if I'd like. Or I could have incorporated that shape into the main object. So, depending on the level of detail, um, I mean, this is probably way too many nodes for the application, most applications. This is like I was really trying to show that you could go fairly detailed. So it's probably, I don't know, it's a lot of nodes. So kind of without fanfare there, I completed the first object. At least you get to see that. And now I'm just going to go and make the additional points. I can combine the paths later. But I do believe this will be starting a new path object in Inkscape at this moment. And then I would need to combine it if I wanted to, make it one object. Okay, so I've traced out the second object here, and I just want to combine them. So I'm going to hit Control K. And for some reason, it like to override my stroke from the other one. Not real sure if there's a right way to do that or not. I'm just going to change it back to 0.5 and put my paint back to red. Let's do that. All right. So I'm just going to do the same with this section. Go around it real quick and then combine it. I'm trying to be real conscientious of these curves and draw what I think looks pretty and not worry about it too much. But these are some of the focal points of the object, so everybody's going to look down at that tail, I imagine. I think this is a rock, so I don't think I have to worry about it. I might want to give it a little more cragginess. And then I'll just try and shift select, Control K. That's what I usually do. Yeah, and it still overrode it. Oh well. Can't have everything. There we go. All right, so that's most of the detail there. I need to get these separate objects, and I'll go ahead and work on those real quick. All right, it's the home stretch, and I have to admit to getting a little carpal tunnel at this point. Might have to stand up, take a break. I'm just rocking through it. You see how quick it can be when you don't really, care on these parts that are not a big deal. It's kind of forgiving. I didn't realize it. I mean, I knew it was an intricate image, and I picked it for that purpose. But I also, just to show you that a complex object can be dealt with pretty swiftly. But also, I didn't realize that I'd inadvertently picked such a forgiving object, so that's great. All right. Oh, and here we go. I've not taken my own advice and gone all the way around this thing without hitting enter. And I'm just zooming through. I mean, it's almost taken me an hour to do this, but I've explained it along the way. And that adds to the time, and I've intentionally made some mistakes and gone back. So, Control K to combine. It's also right up here in like path. Where is it? Combine. And I'm going to take the stroke style and actually let's go ahead and hide our original. We'll see what we've missed, if anything. Here's our layers. Looks like we've got it. And let's see if we have to deal with any inversion or anything. Let's take a look here. Let's just stroke paint none, fill black. I think it's pretty great. I'm sure you guys will let me know what you think. All right. Well, without further ado, I'm ready for this thing to be over. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I hope this was really beneficial. Obviously, you want to save your document now and export to any format that you want. So you can export to PNG. Um, save your document, whatever you want. But this is Mike White with Jadengo Web Solutions signing off, and hoping you enjoy making vector images.